I'd love to ask the last time that you felt sharp. Like the last time you really felt like you were on the ball, you were clear-headed, and you were operating full steam ahead. I'll give you just a second to think about it. If you took more than that long to think about it, it's been too long. Most leaders that I work with can't answer that question without having to think about it for a really long time. I'll be honest, I sometimes fall into that category. Not last night, but the night before. I only got 2 hours of sleep. For some reason, my body just wasn't willing to shut down. And all day yesterday, I was in a fog. I absolutely felt like I was dropping the ball, like I probably couldn't be trusted to send an email. And when my son got home from camp yesterday, we were chatting and I was trying to give him some instructions for a chore and I was stumbling all over my words. Sometimes we just really get exhausted, and when we have too much on our plates and when we're doing too much, we start to feel like we just can't execute the way that we need to. And when that's happening, a lot of times we feel like it's a personal issue. It's something that we need to figure out how to solve in our personal life, so that we can operate better in our professional life. But the truth is, we don't just, need to take another vacation or, get a perfect night's rest every night or stop saying yes to everything. Um, when we're depleted and exhausted in this way, it's showing up personally and it's showing up professionally. It's happening because of things in our personal life and it's happening because of things in our professional life. And I thought it'd be really interesting today. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the cost of disengaged employees. And I thought it'd be interesting today to follow the money. So I'm going to break some of this down for you in three different categories first, and then we're going to talk about the financial impact here. Individually, when we are not running all on all cylinders, some things are going to end up happening that manifests itself in different ways. One of them is decision fatigue. We are overwhelmed with decisions that we have to make every day. There's a lot of really cool research that's out there on how many decisions we make in a day, and it's thousands. It's shocking. Do I go to the bathroom before I start this meeting? Do I fill up my water? Do I want to prep the chicken for dinner now, or do I want to do that when I get home? Or do I want to run by the gas station and just pick up some Twinkies and that's what's for dinner tonight because that's all I can do? Those are all decisions that are these little micro things that are happening on our brain all the time. So when it comes to larger decisions and ones that have a bigger impact, we get tired, we get fatigued with making these decisions. I know for myself personally, my husband sometimes will say, "Where do you want to go to dinner?" And my full answer is just like, "You choose." I would actually rather skip the meal than have to process the depth of that decision of how far away is it? What else do we have to do tonight? What am I in the mood for? Does it fit our budget? I'm tired. I would just rather not eat than make that decision. That's decision fatigue. And I think all of us have felt that in one way or another at some point in our lives, personally and professionally. Um, Individually, we get reactive. This happened to me yesterday when I didn't get enough sleep. So, y'all, I joke that I don't get hangry, I get slangry. So if I don't get enough sleep, I'm really not at my best. Um, and my son, we have a foster puppy and he was supposed to be doing some stuff and I had just got the little playpen cleaned. Everything was put back nicely. The blanket was around the bed so it doesn't chew it up. There was a new pee pad down. It was perfect. And my son, in haste, didn't listen to my instructions, ran in there and put the dog in there. And I like way overreacted. I'm not a yeller. I don't yell, but I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh my gosh." It was not that big of a deal. If the dog had peed, I can replace the pee pad. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But that reactivity was bubbling just under the surface because I was so depleted. I also find, and this is something that's a little bit more subtle, but individually, We stop taking risks. Well, smart risks, right? We get more sloppy with the things that we do. We're willing to take chances that are maybe not strategic and not smart, instead of actually having the mental capacity and the clarity to fully flesh that out and think about what it needs to be. We just kind of make fast, sloppy decisions to get through the day. And I think we have all been guilty of that. So that's individually. Now, I'm going to talk about the team and the organization. At the team level, when you are the leader, and this is whether you're in a leadership role at an organization or if you're a business owner, your team is going to mirror you. If you've ever worked in an organization with multiple leaders that have multiple teams, you can see how that leader is reflected in their team's decision making. They're reflected in their attitude. Their leaders' perspectives are reflected in the decisions that they make and how they execute projects. If your leader is lazy, the team is going to be lazy, or you may have a really high functioning individual who's resentful about the rest of them being lazy, right? But your team is going to mirror you. So if you are depleted, they're not going to feel safe and secure in their role. They're not going to feel safe and secure to come to you for advice and guidance. They're going to stop bringing you those problems. And sometimes it's great. They need to be able to do things on their own, but also some things need to be run by you. And your team can pick up on that. I know when my team isn't feeling great. I know when my child, when my partner, when my friends, we can pick up on that. And you may think you're doing a really great job at masking it, but I can promise you it's not as good as you think it is. And that in turn means that you're the last one to know the things that you need to know. If you don't have the capacity to receive that information and that feedback from them, then they're going to stop telling you, and you're going to find out on the other end when there are problems and issues, right? That's when you're going to be made aware. And unfortunately, sometimes it'll be too late to fix that problem. And when all of that is happening, we start to see turnover go up. We start to see people being disengaged, like we talked about yesterday. And we also notice that innovation and creativity flatline. So your team is going to stop creatively problem solving. They're going to stop thinking of new ideas. They're going to stop finding better, more efficient ways to do things because you being depleted is rubbing off on them, and they no longer feel like they have that lifeline and that open line of communication to you. And so they're going to just start getting smaller and closing down, and we're going to see things actually slow down as a result of that. But if we look at the organization as a whole, I shared this with a training that I was doing the other week in Tennessee. I was at a leadership conference and working with leaders there. We had about 75 people in the breakout session, and I told them something that was told to me. And I'll share this because I felt a little bit of pushback in myself when I was told this. I did not receive this well, but over time, I started to kind of absorb the concept, and I can see now how accurate it was. If you're in a leadership role, I don't think you can call yourself a leader until you've grown a leader. Leaders grow leaders. You're not actually a leader until you have led so well that you have trained and grown and coached and developed a leader. That's when you can actually call yourself a leader. And when we look at the organization, if you have a burned out leader, you're going to birth a burned out leader. I heard the other day on this really great video, I wish I could remember where I saw it, but it was like fire births fire, water births water, right? Like burned out leaders are going to birth burned out leaders and burned out teams. And those teams are going to miss their targets. They're going to drop the ball. They're going to become resentful. Now, when we talk about the cost of this, the cost of replacing a leader on average is somewhere between 50 and 200% of their annual salary. That's how much it costs to replace a leader. So when organizations are not investing in their leaders and those leaders are not invested in growing leaders, it actually has dollar bills assigned to it. And what's really interesting is I don't know, and I couldn't find any research on what the actual cost is of the people that are walking out the door, right? Like as far as dollar bills go, but also creative ideas, right? We know that on a team, we have cheerleaders, we have doers, we have thinkers. Team dynamics are super important. And when one of those pieces walks out the door, you're not only losing the dollars that you have to replace that person, but you're losing everything that they were bringing to the team dynamic as well. Now, sometimes not everyone's great for a team, and that's fine. When we need to let people go, we need to let them go. But when you have people that are bringing valuable assets to the organization and to their team, we also watch that walk out the door, right? Now, all of these issues are not fixed by like again another vacation, a weekend at a spa. Wellness tips are not going to fix the system. I used to be this person. I used to have an incredibly large team. I thought I was working really well. I thought I was executing really well, and I started noticing cracks where things were not working the way they were supposed to work. And it cost me, it cost my ego. It cost the productivity on my team. It cost relationships, not only relationships between me and the people on my team, but the team and the people that they were working with. All of those things were not where they could have been because I was so depleted and the organization was running in such a way that we were not investing in the human component of the organization. It really will start to show. And you may not even be able to see it in yourself now, but pay attention to those things, especially the individual level things that I mentioned, and see what's coming up and see what you can see in your team. Start to pay attention to those signs. This is why I do the work that I do now, right? This is why I went out and opened my own business, is because I can see where those things happened and I can help teach others so that we can correct and fix that. And maybe the mistakes that I made can help other people so that we can actually avoid some of those mistakes in the future. So here's what I want you to sit with today. I want you to think about what you're being depleted, what your burnout, your lack of resilience, your exhaustion is costing the people around you. I'm not even worried about you right now. I want you to think about what it's costing the people around you. And I would love for you to share that with me. You can shoot me a message, you can email me, whatever it looks like for you, that's great. But please share that with me. I'm really curious to know, now that we've had this discussion, what you can see on your team. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing one thing that most burned out leaders never do, and I think you'll be surprised by it. I don't think it's something that you will expect. So come back tomorrow and we'll chat about that. I can't wait to hear from you. Take care.